Hey guys, welcome. Friends, we're gonna start with a new section today, and this particular section will consist all the concepts which are important in JSP and Servlet but doesn't fit in any other category. So let's get started, and the first lecture would be about Servlet context. As if now we haven't find any other concept other than Servlet context to put in this particular section, but maybe down the line we will add couple of more videos in this particular section. So let's get started. Let's add one project in here, and the reason why I haven't added the project already is because we would like to check this particular option of generate web.xml deployment descriptor. By default, this option is unchecked and the web.xml is not generated by Eclipse IDE. So we will explicitly check this checkbox and we will click on finish. By any case, if this particular option is not present in your Eclipse version, then don't worry, by default it will get generated, which I feel so. And let us click on finish, and this particular new project is here. And if we navigate to this particular folder web content and traverse this particular tree web.inf, here we have the web.xml. We will need this web.xml in a minute, and first of all let us add a servlet in here. I will highlight Java resources, right click and navigate to new and click on Servlet. Let's use the default package and the name would be demo. Let's click on finish. We will keep everything as default, no change there. Let's get rid of all the stuff in our toGet method. In here we would be directly using something known as Servlet context. And let me show you this. This would be directly available to the servlet, and we will type in get and use control space for autocomplete. Here we go, get servlet context. And now we would be making use of yet another method, which is set attribute. Now this method has two parameters. First is the name of the attribute, so we will give the name as name, and in fact let us give the name as email, and the value would be my email. Alright, and once we set this particular value, we can retrieve this value anywhere in the application, and the way of retrieving the value is again very simple. So first of all, let us add a print writer object, and we will type in response autocomplete and then get writer. And inside this println statement, we will access the value of email. And how we can do that, which is very simple. In fact, we will type in get servlet context dot get attribute, and we will pass in the name, and the name is email, right? And let's execute the servlet. It is taking some time. Here we go. So we have successfully read the value of the attribute. Now if I go ahead and create a new JSP file, and we will give the name as email.jsp. Now even to all the JSP file, this particular method would be available, and we already know how to get the value of the attribute. So we will type in get servlet context dot get attribute, and we will pass in email in here. And now finally, I guess everything is good. Why this particular Eclipse IDE is giving us an error? We need to make use of expression in here. Let me save, and let's get rid of this particular semicolon. Let's save the program. Again, this is giving some kind of error. Let us first execute the program. I suppose the code is correct. Now finally the email address is in front of us and we are executing email.jsp, which is again perfect. And if we check email.jsp, Eclipse is giving us some error, but I guess this error is false because we are able to execute everything perfectly and there is no help though. Alright, let's forget it. Now the usage of servlet context is not only to set attribute and get attribute. This is one of the use, and obviously this particular attributes would be available inside the application. So this is pretty handy and good, and obviously we can make use of it. But yet another use is to read the parameter in web.xml. Now we can set couple of parameters in this web.xml. Let me close this and open the web.xml using the text editor in fact. And inside this web.xml we can add couple of parameters, and using this servlet context we can read these parameters. Now imagine there could be a situation where the programmer would like to set couple of things which needs to be constant throughout the application, and at that particular time this particular thing could be very useful. Now imagine that, for example, the email address of the admin needs to be constant throughout the application, so we can easily define the email of the admin in here inside the web.xml. And suppose the email address of the admin changes, then we simply need to update a single entry and the value throughout the application would be updated. So that is awesome. And the way we do it is pretty simple. We type in context dot param and we will close the context dot param obviously. And inside this context param we have param name and param value. So we will type in param name, and param name would be maybe email, and we will close param name, and we would copy this line, paste it down the line, and in place of name we would type in value, and the value would be suppose my email. All right, so here are the values. And finally let us navigate to here, and in here in place of this particular email, let's get rid of it. We would try to get the email address from web.xml, this particular email, which is again same. Let us change this email. We will type in Terry easy, and in place of com we will type in org, so which looks perfect. Now in this demo.java we would able to call, or we would able to read this email easily. Let us check how we can do that. We will simply type in get servlet context dot get init parameter. So let me choose this, and inside argument we will type in email. Let me check. Yes, it is email. And finally let us execute this demo.java. So here we go. So the email address has been read by this web.xml. Let me update the web.xml. I will type in chand@steadyeasy.org. Suppose the value of the email parameter has changed, and now let us see how easy it is. I will refresh the page. In fact, I will re-execute the page demo.java, and then I suppose the value should gets updated. So we need to recompile the page once. So here we go. The value of the email got updated. So this is really convenient and a very good way to keep things organized. Again, we can do the same inside this email.jsp. So we will simply type in get servlet context dot get init parameter, and we will pass email in here. Let's save the JSP file and let's execute the email.jsp. Here we go. So this is fantastic. And if I again update the email and save the web.xml and refresh the JSP page, I suppose we need to re-execute it once. Alright, so let's execute the email.jsp once again. So the value needs to get updated. So here it is, and this is fantastic. So this is the usage of servlet context. There could be a couple of more usage of it. Mainly it is used for this particular context of setting the attribute which would be available throughout the application and by reading the parameter of web.xml, and this is how we can add the context param. So this is all about it. I guess I have made myself clear. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.